Kain is deified. The clans tell tales of him. Few know the truth. He was mortal once, as were we all. However, his contempt for humanity drove him to create me and my brethren. I am Raziel, firstborn of his lieutenants. I stood with Kain and my brethren at the dawn of the Empire. I have served him a millennium. Over time, we became less human and more divine. Kain would enter the state of change and emerge with a new gift. Some years after the Master, our evolution would follow. Until I had the honor of surpassing my lord. For my transgression, I earned a new kind of reward. Agony. There was only one possible outcome. My eternal damnation. I, Raziel, was to suffer the fate of traitors and weaklings, to burn forever in the bowels of the Lake of the Dead.
Cast him in.
Tumbling, burning with white-hot fire, I plunged into the depths of the abyss. Unspeakable pain, relentless agony. Time ceased to exist. Only this torture and a deepening hatred of the hypocrisy that damned me to this hell. An eternity passed, and my torment receded, bringing me back from the precipice of madness. The descent had destroyed me, and yet I lived.
Raziel, you are worthy.
25 years on, I have yet to find another video game that goes as hard as this from the intro. Greetings once again, ladies and gentlemen, and a happy Halloween to everyone. Welcome to Arbitration Studios as we play the whole damn thing of what, Mrs. Arbiter?
Soul Reaver.
The technically the second of the Legacy of Kain series, although for many a gamer it was their first. The original Legacy of Kain video game, called Blood Omen, the Legacy of Kain, was a top-down Legend of Zelda-like story that came out like fairly early in the PlayStation's life cycle that, well, to be 100% honest, it did not sell very well. It's a small miracle that a sequel came out at all, and it took the it took the realm of, okay, we're not going to be doing a direct continuation, we're going to be...
Redeem yourself. Or if you prefer...
Well, thank you for that. We're going to be taking the...
settle your dispute with
An alarm went off. I say that I got a pork shoulder in the smoker that's gonna go off in about 45 minutes too. So, Blood Omen, the Legacy of Kain, was its own little story. Soul Reaver which was made like 8 years later, which isn't unreasonable for a sequel as far as video games are concerned, but it took a whole new method because as we can see here, this is not top down. This is sort of Lara Croft Tomb Raider style third person behind the shoulder action. Because I say Tomb Raider, that was the popular video game franchise at the time. I mean, for crying out loud, Lara Croft was a Playboy centerfold.
Laying a path across the great
So, and instead of centering around Kain himself, Kain is almost... He's supposed to be an antagonist, but when you really follow it, and you will see this as the game goes on, Kain appears almost incidental to Raziel's story. So... But, well, I suppose we'll get to that as time goes on, though.
Indeed.
You are weak. You must feed.
The old hunger has left me.
Here's a question. Do you recognize these voices?
You are changed. Your bloodthirst
They're familiar, but I can't place them.
Okay, the mysterious voice, later called the Elder God, is Broadway legend and British theater legend Tony Jay. You would most recognize him as the rock-bodied first mate in the animated movie Treasure Planet. And did a whole bunch of other things. As far as Raziel, he is voiced by Transformers veteran Michael Bell.
Oh.
And not just Transformers, but like if there was an 80s action cartoon meant to sell toys, Michael Bell was in it. For all of the attention that Frank Welker gets, Michael Bell is no stranger to voice work. Kain, when we get to...
So your wings are actually somewhat useful.
Yes, despite the fact that Kain tore the supporting bone out of our wings, the skin remains, and so we can use it as a sort of paraglider.
Their feral hunger has claimed countless souls, spirits who now shall never find
The
their
popularity of the double jump had not quite surfaced yet. Alright, right bumper. And there's our combat system. Very simply put. Lock on, slash to bejesus and back until they are weakened. And you can, if they're spiritual beings, we can drink their souls. If they're physical beings, we have to do something else.
Ah.
So, here's one of the core mechanics that made Soul Reaver interesting.
With their aid, you may gather matter and will yourself to be
Hardly unique. The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past explored this some 5 years earlier, but we are a trans-dimensional being
require no conduit to return to
where
this
we can
you may abandon your physical
transfer
body at any
between the physical realm, and we can also transfer our essence not into the afterlife, but sort of a purgatory between here and
Sustain your strength
the
to
afterlife.
prolong your manifestation in the physical world. If you fail to feed or absorb too many wounds, this fragile matter will dissolve.
A nice, solid tutorial.
So it gives you a chance to approach
You
things
are young
differently.
Yet, Raziel. You still retain many of your vampiric weaknesses. Immersion in water, while not fatal, will dissolve your physical body, forcing your return to the spirit world. Be aware that in the spectral realm, water has neither heft nor lift. It stands as thin as air.
That's interesting. Yay.
Yep. Nope. Avoid that water.
Alright. X to open.
What are these?
The graphics are so simple and yet so complicated.
Well, these are the updated graphics from the version, from the re-release of Soul Reaver 1 and 2
These foul
that
scuttling
came out
beasts could not be kin of our
February of
blood.
2025.
Do you suppose that time stood still for you, Raziel?
The
Much has
original
changed
graphics
since
I
you
will show
passed
once
from the
this
world of men.
cutscene is done. Which, if I can... There we go. There's the original graphics.
Wow.
PlayStation 1.
Yeah. Can't say I'm surprised by much of anything.
I knew my opponent's weakness.
Wow.
Holy crap.
Wow, that's...
Physical wounds are
Okay,
fleeting.
that's a bigger difference than I thought it
Vampire's
was.
immortal flesh begins to close as soon as it is cleaved.
Yep.
Vampires need
There we
only
are.
fear those
Okay.
wounds that impale or inflame.
Oof.
Water scorches like acid.
So,
And fledglings
vampires
are
in the
devastated
Legacy
by
of Kain
sunlight's
series.
touch.
Sunlight harms
I have to
them.
modify my
Impalement,
tactics to
not
suit
necessarily
my
through the heart, just being impaled in general, will kill. Water
Unfettered from the
burns.
flesh, a creature's soul fades swiftly
Huh.
into the spectral realm. Draw it in quickly,
What's that?
Raziel, or you will
The
be
shiny thing.
compelled to
Oh, that is just a shiny.
A shiny. Gold or something.
Um,
Collectible.
collectible.
Okay. Just checking.
So, yeah. So, yeah, you can kill vampires by setting them on fire, stabbing them clean through, dunking them in water, or exposing them to raw sunlight.
Fun.
So, that is that.
Poor sap.
Well, you know, vampires gotta eat.
I know. I'm just saying that
Whoop.
poor... All I was saying was that poor sap.
Wouldn't it be that poor
Your
suck?
physical prowess surpasses what you knew in life.
Eh.
Even massive obstacles can be moved effortlessly.
And keep in mind, we were a vampire earlier, so we could still move this thing. You want to talk about poor sap here? Splat.
And yet it still remains.
PlayStation 1.
If he's mostly skin and bones, why don't they give him a butt?
For the ladies. And the fellas.
Sorry, I had to ask. I know, weird question and all, but...
So in addition to a source of light, remember, wounds that inflame or impale. So if you have a
The
torch,
sanctuary of the clans
you can kill a
reduced to
vampire,
ruin.
well, vampire mutant in
Beyond
this
these
case,
walls lay the pillars of
by
Moscow, the seat of
jamming
Kain's
the
empire.
torch into them.
How humble it now
Ah.
appeared, collapsing into the dust of its former magnificence. And yet, I had only just emerged. In the instant between my execution and resurrection, centuries had apparently passed.
You were in a lot of pain.
Time does
This
work
world
differently
is wrecked with
sometimes.
cataclysms. The earth strains to shrug off the pestilence of Kain's parasitic empire. The fate of this world was preordained in an instant by a solitary man.
Was he a man or was he a mischief maker?
Kain was a man who, on the eve of his 30th birthday, was slain by brigands and given a chance at revenge by a necromancer by the name of Mortarion, who,
Oh, yeah, pokey thing. Ha! Pokey things. Awesome.
there we go. Yeah, give me that. Ah. There we go. So, yes, pokey thing. Another core mechanic. If you find a long enough metal pokey thing, You can grab it and use it as a quarterstaff, essentially. And you can also do this.
Shaggy, you lose your pokey thing, though.
Not?
Oh. No, you don't.
No, I don't. I have no idea what practical purpose this serves in life, but this piece of decoration. Alright. Can't pass there. So we gotta move on.
I'm sure you'll discover the reason eventually. Oh, you can sneak up on him and then shoot him. And spear him.
I meant to actually spear him, not, or, like, run him through. I didn't mean to throw it through him, but, you know.
Dude.
A W's a W, right?
Yeah. You're complaining about it?
I did not say that. So, these rooms are cool.
What are those rooms?
When you see that, that insignia, that tells you that there is a portal. This is our fast travel system.
Oh. Huh.
So you go through the gates. You have to actually physically step on them to activate them the first time. And then each gate, that one takes you directly to the spirit realm, which is underwater. So you will
Die.
But each symbol tells you where to go.
Most of those haven't been unlocked, I assume.
Yep. Because right now I just have this one and the one that leads to the spirit realm. So, the backstory on this is that, Raziel, as we saw in the opening sequence, was the eldest vampiric child of Kain and his chief lieutenant. He had 5 other brothers that also served as lieutenants and were given their own lands to rule. And so Raziel, having mutated wings when mutations were supposed to be Kain's purview first and everyone would follow him, was punished by his execution by being tossed into that whirlpool down below.
Well, that's pleasant.
Centuries have passed, as Raziel's discovered, and he is curious what happened to his old nation, first and foremost. Ah, shit. Well.
Well, you're lucky that you're not 10 at this point.
Well, yeah.
But during the whole water equals death.
Well, full immersion.
Oh,
Stuff.
full immersion. So that's saying he can take a bath. Okay. Not that it matters.
Not that it really matters. You'll notice the flags. That one right there is Kain's personal sigil.
Mm-hmm.
The symbol that makes up the front of Raziel's scarf is his. Nope. Nope, you die now.
Face plant.
Give me your soul.
Nom 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 nom.
Nom nom.
I will nom your soul. Nom 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 nom.
You are adorable. There's the full picture of Raziel's sigil, by the way. Die now, thank you.
So his land is full of mutated vampires.
But they're not his. These all belong to these all belong to his brother Duma.
Duma.
Yep. If I remember right, each of Kain's lieutenants is named after an apocryphal biblical angel.
My once proud kin wiped from this world like excrement from a boot.
Interesting.
I knew the hand that wrought this.
So this is kind of the turning point. Like, Raziel was kind of pissed at Kain, but it was the genocide of his children that made it into Kain must die.
Oh. The fact that his children all died after he was...
Because if Raziel was going to mutate wings ahead of Kain, then the Rizelium, as they would be called, would also...
So they had to die because he was the only... Because no one could do that.
Because Daddy's the only one who is allowed to evolve first.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what ends up happening is that throughout the centuries, all of Kain's other lieutenants begin evolving, and evolving in ways that diverge from the, quote, divine plan of Kain. So Raziel was the first sign of things getting out of control. And we will see how, as the story moves on, how far things go for the rest of Kain's children. I need to get another spear. I need stabby things. And
Hey, over there.
right here.
Aha!
Do do do.
Do. Wrong game, I know.
Oh, especially because, like, I mean, listen to that. This game has some hard music. I mean, it matches that gothic archetype so well. Not gothic as in, like, gothic rock, but gothic as in, like, actually, you know...
Grim.
Yeah.
So Gothic is in the way the perception of Battletech Gothic is. Got it. This grim, dark world.
Yeah. Alright. You want to fight too?
Here, have some fire.
Burn!
Burn, baby, burn.
Crisco Inferno! Okay, if I remove that thing, he's gonna come back right back up, so I'm just gonna let him sit there. Come on. Splat.
It's interesting to watch and just analog kind of... Now that I'm starting to put together and learn elements of design for InDesign, it's those little details are starting to peek out at me of the repetition.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a bad way either.
Well,
It's kind of interesting. I know it's not the same
so
for video game design and coding.
but in terms of like all the insignias all over the castle and whatnot, and that's
And similar textures on the walls. The forms of all of the doors have the same form and the same
you
direction.
asshole.
It's those details that I find interesting.
So the funny, or I shouldn't say funny, but the interesting story about this is that really when you boil it down, this is almost a double post-apocalyptic world because not only is the world falling apart because of some metaphysical disturbance that Kain inflicted upon the world eons ago, but it's also a post-apocalypse because the bad guys won and an empire rose, a vampire empire. Vampire empire, say that 5 times fast. Rose up after eliminating an old order. So the
I didn't recognize these flayed racks of flesh. Their scent was vampiric.
there's our second
gnawed upon their
type
victims'
of
carcass like
vampiric
dogs.
mutant children, the Rahabian. Very much the decaying corpse, almost zombie-like vampires from like Nosferatu.
Gotcha.
Speaking of which, I still need to see that Nosferatu remake movie, because apparently it was quite good. And like the classic, I think it was 1930s Nosferatu was like, it's appreciated for what it is, but you know, it's old. So I love vampire movies though, so
I just like horror movies. But I like horror movies because I like to analyze and study the different elements behind them.
this is a hidden test. See this guy?
Uh-huh.
If we kill him when we encounter humans later on, they will be hostile. But if we leave him alone, then they will see us as an object of worship.
The unmistakable marks of
Really?
Malkaya's clan.
Yeah.
To what depths had our dynasty plummeted if these
Okay.
ghouls were the descendants of my high-born brother? Were they so debased as to recruit fledglings from the desiccated corpses here interred?
Yes.
Wow. Interesting to show the consequent range of that video games like to have.
Well, and that's like the only major consequence saying, now we got a stick with a skull on it.
Take it, take it,
Oh, you like that?
take it seriously.
All right.
Because, dude,
Skulls.
skulls. Beat them with the skulls of your enemy. Or themselves. Whichever's first. What?
I sometimes ask questions. And then I realize the folly of that. There we go.
My brother Malkaya was made last.
Questions are like
Here we go.
assumptions. They
Therefore
make ass
received the
assumptions.
poorest portion of Kain's gift. Although immortal, his soul could not sustain the flesh, which retained much of its previous human frailty. This weakness, it seemed, was passed on to his offspring. Their fragile skins barely contained the underlying decay.
I can only imagine how foul that would smell.
Oh, God, yeah. And it says a lot that, first off, I think it's interesting that, like, the, whatever you say it is that allowed Kain to create his sons, whether it was magic, whether it was spirit energy or whatever, that it was not equally divided. Because Malkaya was got the least of the gifts, and so he was very much the decaying vampire archetype. Rahab, who I mistook for Malkaya earlier, meanwhile, he evolves to the point where he will overcome vampiric weakness to water.
And his children are able to go under the water.
Yep.
Safely.
Yep. Zepham becomes insect-like. And you saw Duma, who became... his children were basically brutes. So, yeah, you can imagine what will happen with Duma himself.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Move it. And... push. There we go. Oh, you want to play? Let's play. Stab. Yay. Alright. Well. This, right there is Malkaya's castle. Or tomb. One probably became the other. And... oh, damn it.
Not quite enough.
Not quite enough. We'll solve that, though. Stab. Hehehe.
I do love how older video games always would show the blood in a different manner.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Old school. They did a good job of with the maps of just kind of like cleaning it up, you know?
They just added, it was more of, rather than replace it, they added more texture against it.
Yep. So,
be it replicating or just... or at least following the exact template.
Yep.
Which is hard to do sometimes.
Give me your soul. Cool. Now I can pick up my stick, and I can beat another guy to death with it. And give me your soul. So, anyway. Huh. Well, you see, this is all like, you know, fancy, like, Romanesque carving. Same there, but that tomb has a curved sword on it. Do you think that's going to be important later?
Probably.
Well, I guess we'll find out, but we'll have to find out next time on Arbitration Studios as we explore the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. So until then.
Later.
See ya, kids.